Hi, I'm Neil Alcaraz, and I'm here today with Michael Chang, CEO and founder of Demystified Studios. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, Michael, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Michael Chang. I am a West Coast California guy. Grew up on the west side of San Francisco, went to Cal Berkeley with a degree in mechanical engineering, robotics, and automation major. But to balance out all that analytical problem solving, I had a minor in Asian American studies and film. So without knowing it, I was always sort of blending the critical analytical problem solving piece of my brain together with the creative storytelling piece. So that's really how my brain and how my career is wired, so to speak. Yeah, so I've spent over 20 years in Silicon Valley working with a lot of major technology brands like Autodesk on products like AutoCAD, Maya, as well as Yahoo, as well as Oracle, enterprise resource planning software. But the part of my career that I'm most excited to tell everyone about the most is working in games, specifically at Electronic Arts, working on role-playing games, strategy games like Dragon Age, like Star Wars Galaxy, like Dungeon Keeper.
Impressive, household names.
Yep, RuneScape. And I love those games because they really harken back to the types of games that I enjoy the most as a player, as a consumer, and as a human being.
So, Michael, what was your favorite game growing up?
Yeah, so my favorite game growing up was this game made by Jordan Mechner. He was the original designer behind the Prince of Persia franchise. Yeah, so the name of the game was called Karateka. It was originally launched on an Apple II platform. I remember very distinctly, I was about 10 years old. I just moved from a small town called Castro Valley, California, out to San Francisco. So sort of a new kid, big city, new school. So initially, just through the overall adjustment process, making new friends, the only way that I could sort of feel like I was in control of my life was through the games that I got to play. And when I was playing this game, Karateka, at the end of my school day, I remember I was very quickly immersed into this game, right? This game had, the overall premise is pretty simple. I'm playing as a karate master, battling a series of bosses. So one round I may be battling a judoka, a judo master. Next round I'm battling another sinister karate master who was using karate for evil. But the point is that I'm through this series of overall combat. For every 3 rounds, I will win 1. So the win-loss ratio was somewhere between 30 and 35%. And I love that overall balance because it kept it very challenging for me because I didn't win a majority of them, but it was just enough overall win to loss ratios that I felt like I was starting to gain mastery of that, right? So I love that moment to moment, play by play overall engagement. But I think the part that really brought out my emotions and really got me invested emotionally and mentally was the overall arching meta story. The meta story is that at the beginning of this intro of the game, there's this evil samurai who's got this big, giant, hulking, sinister eagle on his shoulder. And at the beginning of the game, he literally points like this, very sternly, and this beautiful blonde princess has to march across the courtyard into this tower where she's in prison. And so the point is that until I had successfully defeated each and every one of the bosses and saved this princess from this imprisonment, the game ain't done. So I love that interplay between that play-by-play engagement together with that very emotional, very inspiring, it's me against the world, it's up to me to save her chivalry aspect. So I love that combination of very beautiful gameplay design on an Apple II platform.
Michael, that's an impressive background. I loved the game element in there. Can you tell us a little bit more about the vision behind and why you started Demystified Studios?
So for me, I'd always been very fascinated by education. And in particular, my grandmother on my mother's side of the family was a school teacher. My mother was a school teacher before she immigrated to America from Taiwan. And one of the things that I saw that became very acutely clear during the pandemic was that our education system has not kept pace with the changing emerging consumer behavior. And in particular, what I had seen was that a lot of young people very much sort of see education as almost more as a chore, versus when you actually see the way that they play games and interact with friends, through a variety of different games, puzzle games, MMOs, RPGs, etc., how much joy and excitement and competitive spirit and passion that it brings out in them. And so I just thought to myself that, hey, given guys like myself came from free-to-play mobile games, we know how to create engagement. We know how to create interactivity. Why not bring a lot of that engagement, interactivity to education, specifically to business education, right? So that's really the genesis for the vision.
The studio has created its first game, Studio Showdown. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yes. So Studio Showdown is a game which I've been wanting to make for a while now. And it's actually, I call it sort of a mashup between three existing well-known games. So number one, Studio Showdown, it allows players to role play as a video game studio CEO or founder, a la Dungeons and Dragons. And it also blends that together with cash flow and burn rate management per Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow. And then thirdly, it also blends together the high stakes pitching for capital competition angle of Shark Tank, right? So again, the idea is that why use your own money to launch your game when you can leverage the capital of other people with similar visions and passions, right? So really that's where Studio Showdown came from and the overall genesis. And of course, being able to combine all those three types of gameplay into a 15 to 20 minute, pretty quick player versus player PvP strategic tabletop combat is something that we feel very excited about. And then of course, in addition to that, at the end of the gameplay, everyone in the player also has a nice little mini cash flow statement that they need to balance. What determines whether one comes in first or second place is the amount of cash flow they have on their cash flow statement for the game.
Wow.
Yeah, and then in addition to that, they also have to come up with a pitch template of sorts, if you will, which is based upon the cards that they're dealt, based upon the story they want to tell. And we also always like to say that when they're coming up with a pitch, to be mindful of the fact that sitting across from them, they could have someone who is very pure play, quantitative, give me just the numbers, dollars in, dollars out, return on investment, i.e. Warren Buffett. Or they could have somebody who is all about, give me the story, give me the art, how am I supposed to feel? What is the lighting condition per a Steven Spielberg? So how do they go about telling a story, overall pitch, that blends all that together in a very structured format, right? Where they have to address 4 questions. Question number 1, who's their target audience? Question number 2, what are the 3 closest comparables? Question number 3, what's the total addressable market? And question number 4, what makes their game Game of the Year award worthy or investment worthy, right? So if they address all 4 of those questions well, ultimately they could receive feedback from a live in-person judge, or they could also leverage an AI program investor that we have that will give them that feedback. And again, depending on how investment worthy they found the overall pitch to be, they'll get an overall score ranging from a low of $10,000 on up to $1 million. That's calculated towards their cash flow balance.
That sounds like a lot of fun and ambitious. Never really heard a game quite like this. Is this game the first of its kind?
We believe that it is the first of its kind because of, like you said, it is very ambitious, and the fact that it does blend together a combination of styles of role play. And so I think in that sense, it's very unique. It's first of its kind. But ultimately, I do believe that having come from AA and AAA game development, production, publishing background, it is this type of sort of games that I think ultimately sort of is able to grab people's imagination in a very big way, right? So it's when you do the mashups that work that really brings out people's passion and excitement, that makes them people go, oh wow, that sounds really interesting. So that's really the kind of overall imagined gameplay wow that we're looking for.
So Michael, you mentioned target audience as one of the key objectives of this game.
Yes.
Whom is this game targeted at?
Yeah, so Studio Showdown as a game is targeted at young people. We say it's ESRB 13 plus, and we've had people play it across a wide range of demographics. Specifically, it's been play tested by over 500 young people, over 300 teenagers, high school students, and over 200 college students, primarily through organizations like the Association of Career and Technology and Education, and also through the Future Business Leaders of America. And to date, it's had an overall customer sat and satisfaction intent of 9 out of 10, as well as overall recommendation intent of 9 out of 10. And so we're very excited about where the gameplay is at as of today. And we believe that it's something which a lot of people can enjoy, but specifically from an education aspect, it has a very nice sweet spot demographics of hitting anyone between the ages of about 13 on out about 24.
When will this game be ready and available to customers?
This game is literally going to be available on a Kickstarter campaign in the latter part of the year, and shortly thereafter it'll also be available on our website, also on the Shopify store, and also on Amazon, again in the Q3 to Q4 timeframe of 2025.
Brilliant. Can't wait to get my hands on it.
Yeah.
So Michael, what's next for Demystified Studios?
Yeah, so I want to say that in terms of overall core competency and strength, and so Neo, yourself, myself, our superpowers are really in developing and publishing mobile free-to-play games. So going back to our core competency, as you can see, the initial flagship Studio Showdown is a board game. And the intention for that, and it's very deliberate, is to really prove out that the gameplay is something that really provides the interactivity, the fun factor, in addition to the monetization potential and overall the educational value to young people. Once we prove that out, make no mistakes about it, we're going to make this available on mobile, free-to-play, and subscription as well. And of course, we also understand that this game focuses around teaching young people to create a business plan and to pitch it for capital. Another element which is very critical to success in gameplay and AA and AAA game development, of course, is our ability to go and create excitement and immersion and anticipation in advance of the launch of a game. So the next game is going to focus on teaching young people to create a 30-second Super Bowl or FIFA World Cup style commercial, right? So that game is something that we're very excited about. That's very much in the works. And so that's also something to look forward to as well.
Wonderful. That sounds great. I'd like to thank Michael for joining us today. And Michael, the floor is yours. This camera, this camera, this camera. Tell us what we should look forward to next.
Yeah, so first of all, our board game, Studio Showdown, will be going into an official Kickstarter campaign towards the latter part of 2025. And in addition, it'll be available on Amazon as well as on our own Shopify page shortly thereafter as well. If you can please follow us on LinkedIn, on our social channels, and stay up to date on not only this game, also future dates that are yet to come, that'll be amazing. So thank you.
Michael, thank you.